Hey.
I test some VG10 today. We're looking at this real steel knife. It's an Ostap Hell design. Don't know what it's called. It's quite a thin grind. I'm going to sharpen it, but first I'm going to test it with the edge it came with, which was from Gabe of the Home Slice fame. See what he's done to it. I'm sure it's a pretty nice edge. It feels pretty nice. And to cut paper with it, does a pretty good job. Curly little paper slices there. So we're gonna do what I did with the N690 knife from the other day. Going to sharpen it, test it, sharpen it, and then test it again. And then perhaps speak on VG10 just a little bit. Let's do it. Cool, 340 noticeably started feeling pretty slow there in these last 20 or so cuts. 340, pretty good result. Alrighty, had to go to work there. Let's do my test. I'm waking up a little bit sick. Let's do my test and see how that goes. So yesterday I put a very nice and sharp mirror polished edge on this knife. I can see my little reflection in it. It's very, very pretty. And we're gonna see how this cuts. No. Sisal allergy maybe, who knows. It's definitely pretty rough, pretty choppy. Alrighty, call it a 350. Alrighty, 350, pretty much the same. No real difference between mine and Gabe's edges. That is interesting, perhaps. Probably Gabe's edge is a little bit less effort than mine. Maybe he's just done a bit better burr management, or who knows. But overall, much of a muchness. Just a bit of a head cold today. So I will just cover quickly VG10. So VG10, as I sort of said in the N690 video, it's a Japanese 440C variant, 440C being a blade steel. That was the blade steel to have for the longest of times, all through the 70s and 80s. Eventually kind of got dethroned by ATS 34 CPM or 154 CM, and they sort of came across from the I think the jet turbine engine field and started being used in knives. But yeah, 440C was the stuff for the longest times, and even 154 CM, not a huge amount different, huge amount of deviation in that recipe than from 440C also. So Steel's kind of, they're very definitely sat in a very sort of similar spot for quite a while, and all this crazy new innovation only started when the particle metallurgy processes sort of came into being. Before those processes, you'd be like looking for maybe M4 as your best possible edge retaining steel, and that being tool steel, being a bit different. Stuff like that was probably what you'd be after, and most of the knife companies weren't really using that sort of steel. Most of them were just using your 400 series and whatnot. So, and maybe some 01 or some, A2, 1095, that sort of thing. So yeah, it really was just sort of your carbon steels or your stainless steels. And if it was a stainless steel and it was a good knife, chances are it would be 440C. So yeah, eventually Takfu in Japan made VG10, which was a variant of that. And ATS34 was indeed same company's variant of 154cm. So there we go. So overall, VG10 is a fine steel. It is going to perform like pretty good. That was probably about the best edge that I could have put on VG10. Does, it cuts about half as much as like, a good powdered steel like MagnaCut or, S35 VN or something like that. Might cut probably a third more or something like that. There really is like there's something you get from having, much sort of higher element steel, like steels with much more in them, and that can really only be achieved by like powder metallurgy, having it all sort of put in one spot, put in evenly, put in homogeneously, all that sort of thing. Really did increase the performance of steels in basically every direction with the advent of that. So there we go, guys. Bit of a note on VG10. It's absolutely fine stuff. Like, it's about as good as N690, about, realistically probably about as good as 154cm. I doubt that the end user would notice too much of a difference. That's to do with the steel composition, probably some differences to do with how it's treated, how it's sharpened, often, the grinds, the geometries, that sort of thing. But yeah, I would be pretty happy with a VG10 knife that I'd paid less than $100 for. No problems at all. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next film. Goodbye.